We're in. I've got a good lock on the Captain CNI transponder. No Covenant defenses detected.
What? There's no Covenant here. I think maybe nobody's home.
You're dead!
Okay, step 1. You need to damage the Wraith.
We're in.
So a legendary, you want to throw 5 nades at it. And shoot it a little bit. And from here, you want to walk up to this wing, crouch, and line up this corner in between these lines. And from here, you can shoot the Wraith to destroy it, and you'll clip inside the wing. Once inside the wing, to get inside the Wraith itself, hold forward till you stop moving, looking in the corner here between this diagonal line and this horizontal line. You then tap back quite lightly, and you should bounce around a bit and end up inside the Wraith. Once you stop bouncing, from here you hold left into the final nook. Sometimes when you teleport into the Wraith, you don't really bounce around. In situations like this, if you hold left, you'll teleport out of bounds. So instead you have to constantly tap left to get into position. So once we're here, I like to switch graphics and over to the sniper rifle. And you want to look in the top corner of this diamond shape here. And from here, you want to tap right for 1 tick, which is 1/30th of a second. And you'll hopefully end up in this central position. If you tap right for too long, you'll overshoot. And obviously, if you don't tap it for long enough, it won't register at all. If you do overshoot, you can work your way back by tapping left and then try again. So once we're here, we look again in this corner, hold jump, and then we can then hold back, and we should teleport out of bounds. Now, landing on this beam is quite difficult and will take a lot of practice to get consistent. So you probably want to have a checkpoint in this position so you can just practice when to stop holding back to land perfectly on the beam. So a fairly easy way to land on the beam is once you teleport out of bounds, as soon as you teleport out of bounds, start holding crouch. And in doing that, you land pretty much perfectly on the beam. Of course, you have to release back as you land, otherwise you'll slide off the edge. So one thing that can happen, probably somewhat less than half the time, is when you go for the teleport, this happens and you get stuck in the Wraith. Once you're like this, you're completely stuck. All you can do is revert. When this happens, what you can do to fix it is reposition again. So from here you hold A, get back into the nook in the corner here, and repeat the previous steps to get back here, and then it should work, hopefully. Okay, just backing up a little bit, one very important thing is the checkpoint that you can get inside the Wraith. Now, after this series of dialogue between Cortana and the Marines, you'll get this checkpoint. This checkpoint will always happen. It's forced by the game. You'll get it if you're falling to your death. You'll get it even if you're in the death animation. So it's very important that you're not in a bad spot when it occurs. However, there is one quirk with this checkpoint. If the Marine who says the dialogue dies, the checkpoint will occur straight away. Like so. It's not a great place to get the checkpoint. However, if we can do this setup fast enough, with enough practice, you certainly can. You can get into this position as the checkpoint happens, which is very helpful. Okay, so once we're up out of bounds, we want to switch back to classic graphics because it's considerably less cluttered, much easier to see where we're trying to go. And we want to get over there. However, Saber Interactive put an invisible pillar here. It's not supposed to be there, it's not there in the original version of the game. However, it's an obstacle we have to jump over. So lining up with the corner of this pillar here, we want to run, jump, and crouch. And we should land on top of it. Now, continuing to hold crouch, we want to aim at this corner here, between the black void and the wall here, and then we can simply continue holding crouch, walk forward, and we should land on the other side of the pillar, on the rafter. So once we get to here, we want to walk past this wall, hook around to the right, and land on the rafters out of bounds. So typically, I like to switch to anniversary graphics as I'm walking off the edge here, and I continue to walk forward until I hit this wall. Once I'm in this nook, I line up with this vertical edge of this box here, and hold jump. I continue holding jump, and jump twice, and land on the other side here. So once we're here, realigning in this direction, as you walk forward, you'll hit this pillar and it'll bump you to the side. When that happens, you immediately want to jump, and that'll allow you to jump over a number of doors which otherwise will block your path. You have to jump over them manually, which is slow, and they can potentially knock you out of bounds off the platform. So that's why I just find this an easy way to do this quickly. So once you get to here, you'll hit another little bump, and just after this bump, there is another door which will block your path. Ideally, once you hit this bump, you jump over to this corridor. However, you can also just simply jump over the door and then over to the corridor. So once we're here, we want to jump off a light which is in the middle of this corridor and over to here. So just in one smooth motion, continue holding forward and you'll reach a nook here. Looking slightly to the left of the corner, hold jump, jump twice, and then you should reach another nook. So once we're in this nook, we can look slightly to the right of this edge here, and holding forward and jump, we jump twice. And as we jump, as we clear the wall, we want to curve around and land in the corridor, crouching before we land to reduce the fall damage. And that's belly skip. Now, if you're playing the classic category on MCC, you can't use new graphics, and the classic belly skip method doesn't actually work on MCC, because for some reason the physics are very slightly different. So what you have to do essentially is the MCC method, except with less clear textures. So a lineup that I like to use is I zoom in and I have night vision on. So there is this circle, oval shape here. That's my first lineup. So I tap right, one tick, and then there is this sort of dark line here, and on the edge of that line is my second lineup. So from here I can do the teleport and crouch immediately after teleporting, and that puts me perfectly out of bounds. So let's just do that one more time. Look here, crouch after teleporting, and out of bounds. I'm not going to go over the classic graphics platforming because there are many other videos on that subject. It's largely unchanged from back in the day. But I'll just show an example of the entire classic route at full speed.
I've got a good lock on the captain's CNI transponder. No Covenant defenses detected.
What? There's no Covenant here. Think maybe nobody's home.
Contact!